Don't know who this is approaching, but I'm recording it. Well, it does look like it's them. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
My name's Cassie MacDougall. We spoke on the phone.
Yes.
How are you doing?
Not bad.
Okay, Jill.
How you doing, Jill?
Good. How are you?
Good.
So I see you got a lot of the yard cleaned up from yesterday.
Yeah, and I don't think the yard's relevant to living conditions. And
well, definitely
what?
the deck. The deck, you couldn't climb over anything. It was filled with garbage bags, bottles, cans.
Yes, it was primarily cans and a lot of cardboard.
It was a lot of garbage.
Yes,
a lot of garbage
I'm aware.
bags. So
I'm aware.
So definitely the deck is relevant to the children having to walk into the home.
Okay. Well, I do have another door which is not blocked in the back.
It's not blocked, you said?
No.
Okay. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
you
go
just
on
ensure there's not fire hazards and stuff too.
There's
right?
there's wired-in smoke detectors in every room. If one goes off, they all go off. There's some in the basement as well, and they all battery backup.
Okay. Well, if we can go inside.
You're welcome to. Come on.
Do you have someone else here?
Yes, my friend's here.
Okay.
There's one of my cameras, another one on the mast, and I've got a few inside, and I got the computers running.
Good for you.
So you want to go up the other door or this door?
Whatever door the kids usually access and stuff would be.
Well, it depends. If we're going in the kitchen there, if we're going in the living room up there. So. This is my friend Greg. We went to school together. Someone broke into his home and I was helping him deal with that yesterday, which is why I wasn't at home.
Okay. Have you lived here long, Bill?
Yeah, I've lived here a couple of years. Judge McClellan wanted to see the place before he deemed it appropriate or livable for the children, because she made the same report because I slept on the front lawn in a tent 3 nights in the first week of July with the kids because they wanted to sleep in the tent while this place was being renovated.
Okay. Well, maybe take us around.
You walk right through, help yourselves.
So is this Morgan's room?
Yep.
Okay. So it looks like a lot of cleaning has been done by the sound of things.
Well, I was in the process of doing that. If you looked in her window, because it was open the other day, I had the mattress out because I took everything out to clean the entire house.
Okay.
So
Were they outside for a very long time? I'm just curious just because it was raining a lot the last. Like,
Mm.
you said it was outside?
what was outside?
The mattress, is that what you mean?
No, it was here.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, here-
I thought
no,
you,
this
when
is-
you pointed that
This
way,
is
I
my
thought
other.
you
This
meant
is
you
my
had
other
it
camera.
outside.
No, I had it right here.
Okay.
And there's my other camera. There's one more there, and I've got my laptop there, and I've got another laptop in my room here.
Cameras in the children's room?
No, there's no cameras in the children's
I
room.
thought you pointed to
No,
Matthew's room.
Well, Matthew, I just put my dash cam right there in the window.
Okay, but
That's a dash
not
cam.
typically there?
No, it's in my dash cam. It sits in my vehicle, and if you'd like to see some footage of my vehicle.
Or like points outwards out of the window?
No, this is forward and rearward facing. It does both video and audio.
Yeah.
And this is usually in my vehicle, but I just thought I'd put it in to show. Have one in the room.
Just for today?
Yep.
Is that what we're understanding?
Yes,
Okay.
that is what you're understanding, because that's my dash cam video. I don't have any cameras in Morgan's, but she does have her own to her computer because she uploads videos and she's got her own YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'd like to just go over the report that was received and the concerns that were raised and what we need to address. So, as I had said to you on the phone, the information we received was that the home was in a
Yeah, I
state
know.
of
She said that.
disarray.
She said that before.
I'm not sure
Chantal
who you're
Dubé.
talking about when you say she.
Danica Edgett said the same thing to Chantal
This has
Dubé,
nothing
who
to
conducted
do with
investigation
Danica
years
Edgett.
ago.
I don't believe she's been in your home
No.
ever. If, like, I guess I don't know, but this is not about her. This is what the report we received and what the children
Yeah, I'm
are
going to be
saying.
asking for the intake report. And just, I want you to
so-
hear a phone call I got from Matthew when he was 5, saying, I
can we
don't want you anymore,
Daddy.
Daddy.
Try to
Bye.
refocus for 1 second, just because Cassie's just trying to explain to you what the report was about.
Yeah,
And that it's just about the children,
Here.
right? So I'm just-
yeah, I know. The children are being subjected to abuse, and the mother acknowledges it in one of the phone conversations we have.
She's kind of just respectfully trying to explain is just that we received the report and that she's talked to the kids and she wants to kind of communicate to you right now how that conversation went and the concerns that the kids kind of voiced, right?
No,
Without kind of
I know. Now, I made a report months ago because 2 other people witnessed Morgan being coerced and manipulated
No,
in conversation,
I'm going to bring you back to the current
and
time.
no one ever investigated.
Obviously, something happened last week between yourself and your daughter, causing her to run away and the
She,
police to come
no,
to the
nothing
home.
took off. She just took off because she was mad at me because her mother's, she is,
But I'm telling you, this is how
I'm-
our investigation began. This is when we received the call.
okay, and when did that start?
That was on April 26th. I
Okay, and
believe.
you did, I wasn't informed within 24 hours.
Again, you don't have to be informed within 24 hours.
And my
of
children
receiving
weren't
the
here
call.
when you came here to look at the children yesterday. You went and saw them both at the school.
That's correct.
right.
Okay, so they weren't in any danger or harm.
We're not saying
So
they
you were
in any
trespassing.
danger
You did
or
yesterday.
harm in the moment.
You did. That's why you were here yesterday, you said. And I
We came
believe
here
you
to
didn't
see
do
if
that
you
in
were
good
here
faith.
to inform you that we saw the children at the school. That's
Right.
the purpose of the visit.
Well, she told me on her phone call that once an investigation is required, they have 24 hours to notify me, and that didn't
to
happen.
notify you when the children are visited at school,
Right.
under the Family Service Act. So the intake, depending on how it's screened in, we have 3 different levels. It's triage, right? So that dictates our response time to your home, but the school visit is a 24-hour period. That's correct.
Okay, so the report that we received, as you know a lot of this, it was the state of your home. When Jill and I came yesterday, we were quite surprised with the outside
Yeah.
state of the home. Like I had said,
I know, that's
of
why
the
my doctor's
garbage
put me
bags,
off work.
ripped open garbage,
Yeah,
cans and bottles.
yeah,
So we were worried, and we did see in your kitchen window, and there were piles and piles of dishes. That's all we
there's-
could see.
Yeah, there was a sink full of dishes.
So it was more than just a sink filled with dishes.
No, it wasn't.
But that's besides the point. When we spoke to the kids, they said the entire home
Yeah, I
is in
know.
a state of disarray.
I know, and because they're being indoctrinated
But
and
they
cult-like
said
behavior.
they saw this with their own eyes.
Yes, and you know
They
what?
talked a lot about mice in the home
Yeah,
and mice
and-
droppings all throughout the home, in
Okay.
their beds and in their
Yeah,
bedrooms.
you know what? She's
So
had my
this-
son calling me since he was 5 years old saying, I don't want you anymore, Daddy, bye.
So I guess my question is, are you saying there were no mice and were no mice droppings in the kids'
No.
bedrooms? So that you're saying your children are making that up?
I'm saying they're being
Okay.
coached. And you guys, are you able to determine whether what they're saying is the true voice of the child
So
or
was the
authentic
RCMP
voice?
in your home on the 26th?
Yes.
So what do you think they would tell us
I don't know. Go ask them.
about the state of your home?
I don't know. I can go check my cameras because one of the officers did enter.
Okay. So it's not just the children saying the state of the home was in disarray. Besides the point, you've cleaned it up and it seems very appropriate now. I would like to know about the situation with the mice. Has there
Well,
been
here.
an exterminator? What is the issue?
No. Well, here. As you see, I put some new spray foam
Oh, okay.
and steel wire so they can't get through any
Amazing.
little places that were there, and
Okay.
those were the ones that got in.
Okay.
And that's how you find them, and that's how you clean up the holes.
Right.
It's an old house.
Absolutely. We understand that mice
This
can
is-
get into homes.
This was the first part of the house, and that was the second. They're built. One was built in the
Okay.
20s. One was built in the 70s.
Okay. So The other thing I have to ask you about, the kids did express some concerns about food in the home.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Can you open your fridge for me? Do you mind me looking?
Yeah. Yeah, and when they visited the social worker for the VOC, and I do have Matthew on recorded on this as well, they said the food's better here than it is at their mother's.
I don't think...
Yeah.
Looks like a lot
Yeah.
of new food. Looks like a lot of food that was recently purchased.
Yeah,
Just
he
to
came
speak to
down
that.
last night. I don't buy food for myself. I buy food when the kids get here, and I make it for them. Do you know what my daughter likes for breakfast?
I'm not sure.
Eggs Benedict.
Okay.
And she makes the sauce. Helps me make it while I make it
Wow.
for her.
So that's something nice you do together.
Yes.
Well, and when
And
I
I
spoke
do
to
have-
the kids, they said, I said, like, what do you love about Dad? And they said, your daughter specifically said, Dad really cares about us. And I love when he takes us fishing and we go camping with our grandparents and Dad. So they really could speak to some positive things.
Yes, I know, but it's...
But what I want to, something is impacting them.
Yeah, I
being
know
in
what's
this
impacting
home.
them, and their
And
mother
I
acknowledged,
understand
and it's
that's
not
what
this
you
home.
feel. I understand
It's not
you
what
feel
I
it's their
feel.
mother, but
It's not what I feel, it's what she's acknowledged.
But some of the things that the kids also mentioned, Bill,
Yeah.
was just
Do you know if
Them
it's the
being
authentic voice
uncomfortable.
of the child or if it's manipulated and coerced? Because there's two different versions. If they're
all
being
we can
subjected
go
to
on
psychological,
today, though,
is what they're
your
saying.
children told
But
us
they
last
I
talked a
know,
lot about
and
this conversation
this
a
is the
year
fourth
in
time I've been
advance.
investigated by this. This process is called administrative abuse. Now, I'm going to have Alexandra Lisova review the 4 cases that you've been investigated. I already have about 12 reports from the Right to Information Protection and Privacy Act. I will be requesting the last intake, and I will be filing a letter of intent to,
So,
and
you-
I will
you
be
can do
making it.
all of
I
those
will be
things.
making a human rights complaint because the last time I made a report to Child Protection, I've got the social worker recorded, said she wasn't going to investigate a report from me, even though 2 other parties made the same
Well, but
report.
This is a different situation.
Yeah, I know, this is a different
And
situation.
like you
And
said,
she
let
made a
me-
call, and you show up at my doorstep. I make a call, and no one investigates. So
I don't.
the
I'm not
practices
sure
are
about that.
discriminatory. I am. The practices are discriminatory. And one of the investigators, Matthew Bellier, he offered to come testify for me because he recognized the pattern of abuse that was happening
But in this situation,
in this
we
situation.
received a call.
I know.
And we have to
And
come
same
out
same with the
talk to you about
RCMP
it.
officer. The RCMP officer, he came because of what the call he got from the mother. He came to my house. I got a 20-minute video of him on YouTube.
Was
And
this on April 26th?
don't know, this was a couple of years ago. This
Okay,
was
but-
3 years
but
ago.
We want to
No, this wasn't
we
April
want to
26th.
keep it-
Yeah, I'm telling you that people have
current
come
time.
here in the past. This is a repeat pattern, which is a modus operandi, a pattern of criminal behavior, administrative
So, Bill,
abuse.
We're not talking about.
I
we're
know you're not
the
talking about that.
past. We really need to
This
speak about
needs,
what's happening.
yeah, I know,
now.
this needs to be
So,
investigated
I'm really
by
happy
someone
to
that can
see
do
when we have
DSM-5
concerns
testing.
That this is what the home looks like
Yes,
on the outside.
that's the outside.
We've got a concern just to make sure that the inside also doesn't look like this.
Yeah.
Right?
Does
that's
it?
why no, and that's why we're here today.
I was
We
up in Perth
appreciate
Andover last
that
night. You
you've
know when I
shown
got
that
home?
to us.
I got here at 7:30 last night. You want to see my footage?
No, thank you.
I've
But
got it
that's
all
part of the problem,
documented.
too,
What do
is
you mean
that
that's part of the problem?
that we're trying to explain to you is that the kids have kind of mentioned like we
Yeah,
don't
I
feel
know.
comfortable that dad's got cameras
I know, and
on
you know
us
why
at
they're
all
saying
times,
no,
right?
and you know why they're saying that? Because their mother.
But you've got
Bill,
some
But what, Bill? What do you mean, but Bill?
Would you really believe that children want cameras facing?
My
them
daughter sits there and has her own
move?
YouTube channel.
That's a different situation.
What do you mean
That's
it's a different
within her
situation?
She's
I have-
consenting to that because that's her choice. She's not
What-
consenting
who-
to you
who-
to
who-
YouTube
whoa, whoa,
and
whoa,
do that
whoa.
all the time.
What are you talking about consenting?
So they're kind of describing to us that dad's got
That's
cameras on
that's
us
the
all
independent
time,
thinker.
right?
That's the independent thinker phenomenon you guys are explaining to me right now,
But
which
what your
is an
children are
indicator
saying
of
to
psychological
us,
abuse.
There's something
Yes.
behind that.
You're right. They're saying something to you, and you don't understand what it is they're
We need
saying.
you to respect your children's feelings.
I do
That's
respect
what
my
we are
children's
asking
feelings.
you
They,
to
I
do.
love them, and I do everything
We
for them, and they're
believe you
being
do.
abused. I'm being abused by this situation, and no one's doing anything to help. I called a report. My children are being abused. No one does anything.
Bill,
She calls to make a
But we're
report. You
talking
two are
about
here.
Your situation.
I am.
I'm asking you to show some empathy for your kids.
Empathy for my
They are
kids.
expressing a lot of concerns.
You know my daughter
Let me
self-harmed
finish.
November
Please let
22nd,
me finish.
2021?
Like
Bill.
Cassie kind of explain what she's getting to.
I need you to
I know.
try to put yourself in their position.
I know what you're
and
doing
understand
because
where they're
you're,
coming from.
again, you are listening to what the children are
Okay.
saying and
Yes, of
But
course
that's our
we're
job, we're
listening to
child
the
protection.
children.
No,
Right?
yeah, I
We have
know.
to have a
And do you know
conversation
how
about
to
it, right?
recognize whether a child is suffering psychological
So
or
we
emotional
also
abuse?
are aware that there are situations where there's a lot of parental alienation.
Are
and
you
we understand
aware?
that and can
Do you
appreciate
know
it, but
how to
today,
tell if
we're
a child
telling
is
you what your
suffering from
children
psychological or
have
emotional
stated to
abuse?
us.
Let's speak to that in a minute. I do want to tell you the full report and the full concerns so you can respond appropriately. So the home was one thing, the food was another. The third thing was all of the talk about court.
I don't
the
talk about
government,
court.
Law.
I don't. Again, that's the mother feeding them.
The children gave us those examples.
I know they.
as that
I'm sure
is
they
a
did
topic of
because
conversation that makes them uncomfortable.
because this has been happening. But the mother has been.
But we
Do-
have to go on what your children are saying.
But you don't know what they're saying because if they're saying what the mother wants them to say, that's the coerced.
So
here's
That
the other piece
coercive
of
and
what
controlling
Matthew
behavior in a divorce. March 21st, 2021, the Divorce Act changed to recognize that pattern of behavior as intimate partner violence and domestic violence
But
by
Bill,
proxy.
you won't even let us get a word in
Because
you're so
you-
focused on talking about, again, court, law, government, all of these
Yes,
issues.
because I'm
So
traumatized. Do you
my
understand that? Do you know how
worry
much
is that
medications
these are
I'm
the
on?
Conversations that are happening
I'm traumatized, and you're not here to help me. You're
telling
telling me I'm fucking wrong.
So here, you talked about having multiple reports in the past, correct?
Yeah.
So Matthew's also talked to us about, he said, social workers have met with us multiple times.
Yes.
And nothing's changed with Dad. Nothing's working. Nothing's getting better for us. That's
And
what
again,
he's communicated to
and
us.
again, you are taking what he is saying and not knowing whether it's the authentic or the coerced manipulated.
But you know what? You don't know either.
You're right, I don't.
Okay? And
And
the
this is
point
why this is why
that your
I've
children
this is
are
why I've
getting
asked for an
feelings.
expert. Do you guys know how to tell the difference?
We are not experts in that.
Then
no.
you don't know how to tell the difference.
But-
So you don't know any more than I do. In
But
fact,
what we are
I believe I
saying-
know more than you do.
What we are saying is there is a possibility that your children are really being impacted on things that are happening in this home.
They
And
are
what-
being
again,
impacted
I want
by
to
the
go
situation.
Back to the word empathy. Having empathy.
I know
for
what
the fact
empathy
that
means.
Your children could be experiencing that.
I know empathy.
What can we do to change that? What can we do to
Again,
improve
what do I need to
that
change?
so
I'm
they
the
can
victim of
come and
abuse
feel
here.
Comfortable here.
I'm the victim of abuse here. If I was raped, would you ask me what I was wearing and
Of
what?
course not, Bill.
Well, that's what you're fucking doing
so
right
what
now.
you just asked, what I've just heard you say is like, what do I need to do here? So what you need to do is maintain the state of the home the way it is, right? We're not expecting that things have to be perfect all the time. Those kids need to have exits to and from the rooms without all that having to.
Yeah,
crunch
and you
the
know what?
garbage.
I've got it all documented. It's
Just
recorded.
no mice feces in the beds. We understand that old homes get mice. That's totally understandable. That's okay. You've done things to kind of try to correct that problem. There's food, making sure that there's always food in the home. Those are
Yeah, I
things
don't
that we
have
can do.
food when the kids
And then
aren't
the
here
other
because I get what
piece-
they
right,
want.
I'm just answering the question that you've asked us, right? And then that
No, you're
last
not,
piece is
because
just
neither of
making
you are
sure-
able to determine whether or not the children are parroting what their mother's
But
getting
you're
them to
not.
say.
You're not listening to us to kind of respond. You're listening to us right now to react, right? So
No,
we need
I'm trying to inform
explain
you,
and answer those
and
questions.
you guys aren't interested in hearing what I have to
And then
say.
that last piece that I think Cassie was trying to explain to you, that expectations to just try to have that home for your kids so that they don't feel like they're always on video or that dad's always angry about something, because they talk a
I'm
lot
not
about
angry.
anger.
I know,
what they
and
talked
that's
about with us.
that's what you know. What she contacted my parents on the weekend.
Okay.
That's harassment. I got to file another intimate partner emergency intervention order
So
under the
again, what
Intimate
we're here
Partner
to talk
Violence
about
Act.
today is just the kids.
Oh, I
and the
know
report
this.
that we have,
Yeah, I
right?
know. And you think this isn't affecting them? I'm the one that's been diagnosed with acute anxiety, major depression, and been referred to a psychiatrist to determine if I suffer from PTSD due to legal abuse syndrome.
We are sorry about that, Bill. But again, we have to worry about your kids.
You're seeing me and how I react, and this is why courts and everyone else that gets these situations make the wrong decisions 95% of the time, because I'm not presenting as normal, and I'm not. I'm traumatized. And you guys are further traumatizing me by ignoring what I'm saying and trying to validate what you're saying.
We can't do anything about what you're saying.
You can
Bill,
refer
right
this
now.
to someone who can determine whether or not the children are being coerced or not.
That's something we can certainly look into.
And that needs to be done.
But the point is that we are asking you to try and make sure that there's no more
Listen.
conversations happening in the home about those types of
I don't
topics.
talk about my court things.
Focusing
I don't talk about.
on-
See, why do you think I talk about my court things?
Because your children told us you
I
did.
know you. I know. That doesn't mean I do it.
We have to believe what your children
It doesn't
are
mean I
saying.
do it. Yeah, you know what? Matthew said that I choked him years ago. And I was investigated for that. I
But-
didn't choke him.
Okay.
Okay.
That's great. We're happy to hear that.
Yeah.
But again, today, your children are expressing
See, and again,
feelings
you're
of
dismissing
sadness.
me. Yeah, I know. They're very sad and they're
We're
traumatized.
not
My daughter is
dismissing if those
self-harming.
things have already been
You are
investigated. We're
dismissing.
trying to
They
focus
haven't been
on- You
investigated.
just told us that they were investigated. So
No,
now
I
you're
said I made
focusing-
reports and they haven't been investigated. In fact, I was told that they were not going to investigate any reports by me, even though 2 other parties made the same report.
Well, nobody should have said that.
I've got it recorded, and let me tell you, I've already filed a letter of intent with the Attorney General to sue Cassandra Ackerson for that. I already got a lawsuit against Patricia Scott and Andrea Anderson Mason and Dorothy Shepard because they failed to recognize that my children are suffering from child psychological abuse, and it's their job and mandate as child protection workers to protect them from all forms of abuse. And I already contacted Dorothy Shepard, and they don't have any employee in the province of New Brunswick qualified to make a medical diagnosis of child psychological abuse. So that means every child in the province of New Brunswick that is suffering from psychological or emotional abuse is being returned to that abusive environment. And you know what the statistics are on children that are suffer from psychological and emotional abuse by the American Psychological Association? The association that writes the DSM-5. They studied groups that suffered from physical and sexual abuse and children that suffered from psychological and emotional abuse. And the 2 groups, they couldn't tell the 2 apart. There was just one indicator that was slightly higher than the other group. But other than that, they were identical. One group had a slightly higher rate of suicide. Which group do you think that was?
You can tell us if you
Psychological and emotional.
Okay.
So
we're hearing that you're saying you feel that there's a significant impact at the other end because of all the...
If they were being molested, you guys would be pulling them out of wherever they are. If they're being psychologically or emotionally abused, you guys come to do an investigation and you're not qualified to recognize whether or not it's happening.
Okay. What we are qualified to do is listen to children, though.
Yeah.
And when
And
we hear
do you know
your
how to
children
tell?
saying
Do you know
something-
how to tell whether it's the authentic voice or the coerced, manipulated voice? And if you don't, you're still blindly attacking me.
But we're not attacking you.
You
though.
are.
We're
You
asking
started an
We're
investigation.
asking that you make some small
You are
changes.
when you are accusing me of not having food, and not feeding my children.
Those are the
and
allegations that came to us.
I know.
So we have to assess
I know,
that,
and they're it's not true.
And we're happy that you showed us. We really appreciate you showing us your home and showing us your fridge. We're happy to know you have food and that your home has been cleaned. My worry, and I want to be honest with you, Bill, is that it wasn't like this yesterday or the last time the children
You're
were
right. It
here.
wasn't like this. The outside wasn't like this.
And we don't really know
Now,
about the entire...
anyway, you guys were
side,
talking
but-
about me. You said I talk about politics and all these legal things all the time. I don't.
Okay.
So you did walk in here and accuse me of doing something, which I
No,
don't.
We advised you that that's what your son was
I
saying
don't.
to us.
I don't talk about that because those are adult matters, and if
Right.
I start
Right.
talking to children about adult matters, that's a form of abuse known as adultification.
Right. So we're glad that you understand that piece.
I do
because
understand
that's what
that.
your son trying to communicate to
And
us.
I know
so
how
we're glad
to.
hear
I know
that,
the 3
right?
diagnostic indicators for child psychological abuse.
And that's okay, but we're not here to talk about.
I
that.
know, and
Right?
that's what's happening.
It's just concerned about.
It's what's
state of the
happening,
home.
and no one. You don't even want to look at it.
Okay. So, ultimately, we are here, to do what we did. We saw what we saw, and we're happy that the changes have been made. We do need to have a further conversation about what's being talked about in the presence of the kids, because that's...
Well, you know what? I've got it fucking recorded, so.
Okay. You have every conversation in your home recorded.
Nope, but for everything right here in the living room, this is where I sit usually, and the children are in the rooms.
Okay.
Now, coincidentally, they're in their rooms with their headphones on playing their games, so I don't know how they would hear from me. You said they...
We would ask simply that you continue to do with your children the things that they express.
And
that
that's
they
what
love
I try
doing
to
with
do.
you. That should be the focus.
That's what I try to do.
And that's what we're coming here to say. It's not focusing on everything you're going through.
You're accusing me of talking about politics and court cases. I don't mention
And
the court cases about
We
my
just
children.
cleared that up. You just talked to us and said that we didn't do it. I've got it all on video. We said we're glad that you know that that's not a topic of conversation to have with children. So we've just cleared that up, so there's no reason to kind of keep
Great.
bringing this back up, right?
Great.
So that's our recommendation.
Okay,
is
so I'm still
simply
stuck on the
you-
child psychological abuse that's happening that no one's recognizing, and you don't know how to tell the difference between authentic voice
So
and
you
child
have my
manipulated
email.
coerced.
You have my email.
I do. I have your
address.
card. I got it right here.
And I would ask that if you have evidence of those things, please email me that.
I will.
Okay? Email, like, everything you have
I will.
that could provide us evidence that those things are happening. Just please send me an email.
Certainly.
Okay? So at this point, prior to coming to your home, your kids obviously were with their mother and
Yeah.
they're meant to return on
Monday.
On Monday, okay. So prior to us being able to come in and confirm that the home was in a safe state, that there was food in the home, we were saying that the children could not return until we could assess that. So we've assessed that. I need to talk with my supervisor to confirm, but I will get back to you, okay? I'll get back to you by the end of the week to confirm that it's fine for the children to come back on Monday. Okay? Are you in a state where you're still wanting to maintain the typical
I've got my
access?
I'm actually going to be making new motions to the court, and I've got lots of things to do. Fortunately, my doctor's put me off work to help me
Okay.
deal with these because
So, I guess one other question I do have is, if and when your children do come back, how are you going to address this investigation with them?
actually it'd be up to them.
Okay.
This is it's I'm here to teach them to grow up and think for themselves
Mm-hmm.
and learn how to be a good person.
Yeah.
Morgan is not being a good person. She kicked me in the groin at the mall. She's sitting here telling me she fucking hates me. I'm the worst person in the world. Her mother's the best person in the world.
She's
If-
hurting, obviously.
I know she's hurting.
Yeah.
And I've tried very hard to help her because I recognize what she's going through.
Mhm.
Because it's splitting.
Okay.
That's already been identified by Mark McDougall,
Okay.
psychologist in St. John.
So I guess I'm just asking, would you plan on having a conversation with them about this investigation and the things that we've spoke to you about?
No, if they want to talk about it, I leave it up to them.
Okay.
I'm here to guide them and help them. If they want to talk about this,
Mhm.
I let them know they're free to talk to me about anything.
Okay.
And they usually do.
Right.
Morgan hasn't lately because she's just been turned completely against me.
Well, and she's about to be a teenager.
Yes.
That has something to do with it as well. I think a lot of
Well,
people say 13-year-old girls definitely change.
According
in
to
their
Dr.
behavior and
Amy
emotions,
Baker
but
and Dr. Craig Childress, rejection of a parent without justification is a red flag and the first indicator to give a diagnosis of child psychological abuse.
okay. I want you to be open to the fact that perhaps the reason your daughter didn't want to come was because what the state of the home was like. They talked to us about feeling uncomfortable going to sleep because of the state of the home and the state of their bedrooms. So
She
be
didn't
open,
go
Bill.
in my
I'm
room. She stayed in my
asking you-
room.
I'm
I slept on the
asking
couch.
you-
Yeah, just
And
You want to see the
She
videos?
just is
And
asking
she-
to be open to it.
And
That's all
she
she's
said,
saying,
she
right?
said, Bill, she doesn't feel comfortable sleeping in her own bed.
You
Because
know
of the
why?
state of her room.
No, this is,
But
come here. This is why. Come
I-
here.
I
I'll
will
sh-
come here in just
no.
a second. I'm just asking you to simply to be open to the fact that what's going on in this home is what's causing your daughter not
No.
want to come.
My
So-
daughter told her mother why she started cutting herself was because of what's going on between her mother and I, which has been going on since 2015 and is still continuing because she keeps calling and making reports to child protection,
But
which
take
are
some
not valid.
responsibility
What do
for
you mean
that
take
as
some
well,
responsibility?
because it is a two-way
If someone
street.
gets if
What's
someone gets
going on-
raped,
what's
no, it's
going on
not.
between your
There's
her
I'm the
mother
victim
and-
of abuse here. I lost my fucking home. I had to buy this place for $25,000 and rebuild it, and I didn't. The judge withheld the funds from the sale of the house from me.
And we can hear that you've had a lot of challenges, but we just need to hear that you're going to take into consideration like the impact that's
I've
going on
done the
with your
best. I've
kids.
learned a lot about parental alienation. I do a weekly podcast for Dads
But
Matter
you know
too.
what, though, Bill? You could be learning about how to relate to your daughter how to relate to a
I do.
13-year-old, because parenting a 6-year-old.
So now you're
is
telling me
much
I don't.
different
Again,
than
you're
parenting
starting
a
at a
13-year-old.
basis that.
I'm not saying you don't know how. I'm saying maybe your focus could turn.
And again,
to
you're talking to a traumatized person, and it's
Okay.
not my fault that I'm
Okay.
traumatized.
Right. So as long as you're getting support around that as well too, that's
Yes.
going to make you a better parent for them. As long as you're getting that support for your mental health as well, right?
Do you have mental health support?
Yes, come here. This is why she doesn't want to like her bed anymore, and I offered to buy her a new one with a box spring. The board, there's only 3 boards
Okay.
supporting it. So one day, her and her friend were here. They got too far on the boards and they went through the bed. So ever since then, she doesn't sleep here anymore. All I need is a piece of plywood there to fix that. But now, even when I put the plywood and other boards there, she's not interested in sleeping there because her and her friend went through it years ago. So she's been sleeping in my bed ever since.
Okay, so ultimately, we have to consult with our supervisor, and I will give you a call within the next couple of days. Do you have any question? I know you have lots of concerns, but
I
do
do
you
have
any
lots of concerns. No, I don't.
About
And
the
I'm-
current investigation.
Nope. And I know I'm quite hostile because this isn't the first time I've been accused of something. And my children are suffering from this and they need help.
Okay.
And everyone's aligning on one side, following the narrative that's been created. And it's not true.
I'd like to say what spoke to me though is your daughter. Her first thing when I said, you know, tell me what's positive about Dad. Tell me what you like about Dad. She said, Dad cares about us. So your kids know that you care about them.
Yeah, I know.
I want
I know
to
that.
point that out.
I'm aware of that.
This is
And she knows
not-
that. She said that to me the other day before she told me she fucking hates me and she'd rather die than be here with me.
Okay. I'm sorry to hear that. I think a lot of parents, though, have been told similar things by 13-year-old girls. So some
And
of it is
another
somewhat
social worker said that
normal,
most
but-
children display narcissistic tendencies. And I spoke to a psychologist, Angela. I was seeing her for a bit through my EAP, and she said, that's odd. She works for Department of Social Development and Child Protection. She said most children display.
So I
That's-
hope you can understand how it is difficult to have a conversation with someone when there's a camera in your face and
Yeah.
you're spouting all of these things.
Well,
So
you know what? I
sometimes
didn't start
people-
off this way.
Sometimes people say things
I didn't start
that
off this
is not
way.
factual
This is
and
my
they shouldn't
8.
have said.
This is 8
But-
years for me,
Okay.
and it's still going on.
Okay.
So I've been abused for 8 years by the legal process, and it still continues today.
Right.
She's asked for sole custody of the kids, and she's willing to let me have supervised visitations.
Our
That was the
job's
last
not
time we were
about
to
the
court.
abuse. Unfortunately, there are services for you to access if you need.
I've
some
already
sort of those-
contacted the ISD. I know.
Right, but we're here today about children, right? We're
Yep.
here about emotional abuse of children. Unfortunately, that's not our role today, is to help with
Well,
the
then I'll
trauma that you've
I will
gone
be
through.
calling and
We
making.
can acknowledge that, and I'm glad that you're receiving those services for the trauma that you have as well. But we need to hear a little bit back from you. It's like, I hear what you guys are saying. I'm gonna be open to what the kids have talked about.
I hear what you're
I'm
saying,
gonna talk
and
to
you
the
guys
kids
are
about it,
talking
but
to
our
me
focus
from
is
your
on the
perspective
children, right?
and not the actual
We're
perspective of what's
children.
happening.
Focused, right? And that's all we're asking from you today too, is to just
I do everything for my
focused.
children. I die for them.
Okay.
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 So we'll regroup after I talk to my supervisor, and I'll give you a call probably within the next day or so. Definitely by Friday. Okay. Okay. And you have my information if you need anything.
I do.
Okay. Thank you for having us in, Bill. I
And
know.
I'm
this is
sorry
not
for
easy.
being so hostile. I know, but I was investigated by Chantal Dubé, and I was basically attacked by her.
Okay. But we're not trying to attack.
This isn't my first investigation. So again, this is not just for my protection, it's also for yours. So I don't make false reports and say that you guys are coming here and doing something wrong.
Well, and we're like I said, we're here to just try to like offer that support to your family and to your children right now. Like,
Yeah, they need help.
if
And Matthew is receiving ongoing help through the ISD program.
Yes.
okay, perfect. Okay, all right.
We'll chat soon.
All right? Sorry for the hostility.
No, don't be. It's fine. Thank you.
You're welcome.